What's up, guys? Welcome to another video. In this video, we're going to talk about budgeting and how your budget will affect how much you can invest in the stock market. So, if you're watching this video, you're probably already interested in investing in the stock market, hopefully. So, before you start investing, you kind of have to get an idea of how much money you actually have to invest with. And a good way to do this is to make a budget and then stick with that budget. In my opinion, you don't have to be super detailed about the budget. I would just use it as a tool to kind of get an overall idea of my expenses and how much I could save. But if you want to do a more strict or organized budget than that, then you do that. Do whatever works best for you. So obviously, setting up a budget will help you with identifying your expenses and everything, but it will also help you a lot with achieving your financial goals. And that's kind of the big point here. You know, you want a lot of money to invest, and so budgeting will be important for you. So kind of besides the point of identifying how much money you're spending, the key here is to try to see how much money you should be able to save per month or per year, whatever time period you're looking at. So when you're looking at your spending, you could kind of make some different scenarios for yourself, because so if you're just looking at whatever you're spending right now per month and then you don't change anything, that's kind of what you're left with if you don't budget at all. And so you could start with that, and then you look at if you do a very strict budget. So say you don't eat out at all. You make all your meals from scratch, and you make them cheap, and you don't buy any clothes or very minimal clothes and that type of stuff. So a super strict budget. You're only buying stuff that's absolutely necessary, and then compare that to how much money you would be able to save if you don't budget at all. And so maybe there's a big difference, maybe there's a small difference, depending on your situation. That's fine. You could also set up an alternative budget that is a little more, give a little more wiggle room than with the super strict budget. So for instance, you could have set up this second budget where you would go out to eat a little bit now and then. You have some more money that you spend on some fun stuff or whatever it is, and then all of a sudden you have two different budgets. And then obviously if you just look at what you're currently spending, you kind of have three budgets, because you have your current budget without doing anything, right? So and I guess in some cases you don't really have to do much if you think that you're able to save enough money per month compared to how much you would want to invest. So, but if you want to go really hard, then go with the strict budget. Obviously, you'll be able to save more that way. You could also kind of mix and match between the different ones. So maybe 1 month, say it's in the summer, you want to travel, do all this stuff, then you don't really have to have a super strict budget for that. But then maybe the next couple months after that or before that, you would have a more strict budget. So it could be a little fluid at times, but in general, it's a good idea to have a budget to kind of set up. Yeah, so you get a nice overview of your spending, how much you could save. And so when I say save, I'm just saying, it's not necessarily that you just put it in a savings account, because savings accounts don't work. So when I say save, it means you just say you put that money, you set it aside, preferably just straight into an investing account. And the kind of key here is that you've identified how much money you can save per month, and hopefully you have some money to start off with as well. So you have some money in your investing account, and then you know that every month I'll get about, $100, $200, something like that into your investing account. And what's super important here is that, so say you start buying shares of a stock that you're interested in, and the stock starts to go down, it starts to plummet. Then a lot of the time, people get a little, there's a lot of feelings involved. People get a little frustrated or scared, like, oh, like all my money's depleting now. I want to sell it and just get out of it. But that's when you want to have money on hand so you could just buy more of that stock, because then you're lowering your average price, which is a really good thing. And in the long run, you'll have a really good, you'll have a lot of shares for a low price, and assuming that you picked a company that's doing well and is going to do well in the future, you're gonna get a lot of money out of that. So, but yeah, like I said, you want your money to kind of just be sitting there, kind of ready to go as soon as, because it's very unpredictable. Like there could be some event that you didn't foresee that happens. Maybe the stock market in general plummets, or maybe it's just for that sector that you're invested in, or the one or two companies that you have. So you need the money to kind of be there, and as soon as you see that, like, oh, now it's going down, say it's gone down a significant amount, and that's when it's like your stock is on sale. You just want to buy it then, and kind of you kind of need to cut your emotions out of the whole investment, because if you start thinking about it as I'm losing money because you have money in the stock, then it gets a little iffy. It's a little difficult to keep buying it then, but that's what you got to try to do. You got to cut your emotions out of it, keep budgeting so you have that steady money that you can put aside each month. And yeah, personally, I don't think you have to go super in depth with the budget, but obviously the harder you could budget, the more you could save and invest. So it could be a really, really good thing. I just think for myself, I would like to have some freedom with what I do. Like every now and then I would want to spend some money on some fun stuff, but also getting a lot of money in the end is fun. So, but yeah, so that was kind of a long video on budgeting, but it's really, really important. And yeah, you want to just gradually invest as you're budgeting, and yeah, that way you can maximize the money that you get out of your investments. And if you like this video, subscribe to my channel, and I'll keep coming up with different content that'll be good for you guys. So, all right, thanks.